Guys, welcome back to week 6 of the Steel Show. Here with head coach Coach Moroski after a huge win for C of I, 42-0 over Rocky Mountain on the road. Tough weather conditions, just a lot of things stacked up against you, a long road trip, and you guys, played phenomenal all game. So just assess your team's performance and how you guys were.
Yeah, Broch, we've said before, it's very tough to win in this conference, and Rocky is down a little bit, I think. But the travel, it's all part of it. You have to adapt and deal with all those things, and the weather, the trip. I try to spin it positive, hey, we're all in it together, and so the camaraderie's great, the guys are great. You remember those trips. I mean, it's a lot of fun in a certain sense. Extra fun when you win.
Bus ride back's a lot better.
Absolutely. But we were prepared. I do think we're preparing very well. We played physical. A lot of guys got to contribute, so that was very, very satisfying. So it was a great win.
Absolutely.
Great win for this time of the season.
Yes, sir. And being that it was the rain, a little bit tougher to throw the ball. It's kind of limited in the passing game a little bit, even though you guys made some plays, but the running backs really showed. And really the depth of you guys' running back room really showed. All three guys contributed in a big way. So talk about the running backs and how
those three guys are unbelievable. Nick Calzaretta obviously broke off the one at the beginning, and he made some tough yards. And they were loading the box. They had 9 guys in the box, which the box, of course, is between the 2 tight ends, and so they just had everybody cranked down. Little difficult to throw the ball. They knew they had to stop the run, and so they were bound and determined. So when Nick broke that one, I think 3rd series after 2 3-and-outs, that was huge to get us going. But Dom Garzoli is in a groove, and Justin Hellier is the wild card, and he's different and hard to tackle and great balance. They're all so different, but they're all so very, very good.
Yeah, they complement each other so well.
They really do. They really do. And Coach Cody calls certain things for each different guy, even though they can all do it all. But I think that's smart too. To get them geared up to. And they break a lot of tackles. They do some good stuff, so they're good. And a little bit on Darius, because he's a big part of the running game too. With the option game, but. He's been doing a great job handling the ball in those conditions, and the running backs as well. You have to handle the ball. You can't put the ball in the ground. So again, I think we had 1 turnover late with Jacob Holcomb in the game, but it was good to get him in the game. Throwing the ball, Darius, I thought the ball would just slipped out of his hand, just sailed on him a couple times. We had some great things going. The protection broke down a couple times, and or we could have had some big plays too. So it felt like we left some stuff out there too that we need to clean up. But Darius, I just want to say, is he's handling the ball and the offense extraordinarily well, and that's huge in elements like that.
And I think his discipline looks so good right now because he hasn't had a ton of opportunities to pull the ball in the read option and run it himself.
Right.
And I think that's because after 3 years of this conference going against him, they know they have to stay home on Darius or he'll kill you with his legs. And for a guy who's such a good playmaker like him, he probably wants to make a few more plays with his legs because he knows he can, but he just looks disciplined, and he's just taking what the defense gives him every single time and just looks to be operating that read option.
I think you're exactly right. He's really, really grown in that way, and it's
not paying
dividends for the running backs. It's and it allows us to the old let the offense come to you. You don't got to force it. All those things, and then we got some guys that are making some plays around him. So Nick and Dom and Justin Hellier are doing a great job.
Yeah, and just to comment on Justin Hellier, I think it's got to be so tough for opposing defenses to, you deal with backs like Calzaretta and Garzoli. You can do so much and hurt you so much. And then number 20 comes in the game, and he's running as hard as anyone you'll see in this league. He's ripping through tackles. He's looking for contact. And it's just spark plug. And, you talk about wearing a defense down. They're already struggling to stop the run, and then number 20 comes in at 100 miles an hour, and it's just fun to watch as a fan.
Yeah, no, it is. It's great. And sometimes you wonder, gosh, we just would love to get the ball to those guys all the time, So we do look for ways. So they're just great, and they got a great attitude. And I think I said after the season last year, at least to my family and friends, I think Justin Hellier may be one of the most valuable guys on the team. He's just he's great on special teams. He's great attitude, loves to practice, a little bit like you, Broch Cliff.
And he brings a certain attitude to the team.
Absolutely.
And that's what you got, and I think you guys have a number of guys like that, and that's what I love about this team. But He's a no BS and not going to get pushed around, and he's going to take the fight to the other team. And you just need some of that in college football, you know.
And just loves it, you know. Just loves the physical part, loves the competitive part, and that's. I think you're right. We do have the critical number of guys like that, but even just one, you know, makes an impact.
Yeah,
you know, on the guys around. So it's good. So you know, you tend to worry as a coach. You're going into a game. It's a game that was winnable for us. We knew that. Weather's not so good. How are we going to come out? We're going to be flat. All those things off a bye week, and you don't worry when you got guys like him on the team.
Yeah, I love it. So and then obviously the defense. You know, maybe probably the best performance by the defensive unit and Coach Jewell since the program came back in 2014, first year of games. And so just talk about defense and what you saw from them and how fun it was to watch them out there.
Well, super proud of Coach Jewell and the defensive evolution over these 3, 4, 5 years. Shiloh Kao does a great job with the back end. John Yote coaches a defensive line with Armand Nance. Nick Lyons, throw him in there.
Yep.
That's helpful. I've said that before. Love to have guys that have played for us. Troy Carr is contributing as well, a former Yote great at linebacker, so he's helping out. But Coach Jewell is, we have enough strength at every part of the defense, you know, so we can get pressure on with 4 guys. I've said that before, but gosh, Danny Garcia is playing fantastic. Landon Clark Gamble is playing great. Miles Maupin, we were talking about a little bit earlier, he's just great to see him making plays. Zach White, James Roy, Demetrius Tao are playing great on the inside. So it's really, really, Keegan McCoy, haven't even talked about him. So now you got 7, 8, 9 guys who can contribute. That's a big deal. We're better at linebacker in terms of depth. Forrest Rivers, Graham Carnahan are playing great. Forgot to say JT Mahon. So he's playing defensive end. So that's a lot of guys that are contributing and playing well. We played 11 defensive backs, and they were, I think, 1 or 2 MAs amongst all 11. So that's freshmen. So hats off to the defensive staff. I couldn't be more proud of those guys. And we push and we work hard and as a staff, and so it's great to see it pay off and come together. That doesn't happen very much. Teams are too good. Teams are going to find a way. But we dominated that team, which was very, very impressive.
Yeah, and the defense is obviously, it's going to be so critical coming down the stretch, especially, you know, you get down to the end of the season where games are really mattering, and hopefully we're competing for a championship in the conference. You know, hopefully we're in that position after the next few weeks. You know, got to take every game one at a time, but you got to get stops if you want to win a conference championship or do anything in the postseason. You got to be a team that can rely on getting stops, because you're going to go against teams that got good defenses. You know, Western's great on defense, and Carroll's good on defense, and sometimes it may take a little while for the offense to get going, so key for the...
No, it's a great point.
Yeah.
It's a great point, and yeah, so it's so much discipline, it's toughness, it's the scheme. I told the team today, the scheme is everything, the scheme is everything, the scheme is everything, but it's not everything. You still got to make plays, you still got to be disciplined, you still got to be fast, you got to play with juice, you got to do all those things.
And you talked about that speed on the defense, and that's the thing is you're right. The scheme is so important. But even a little undersized maybe at the end, but just so quick off the edge. Great hands, and just showing a ton of athleticism. I see that from the linebacker position a lot watching film. Just fast to the ball, fast when they're blitzing, and a lot of athleticism, which is just great to see.
And that's who we are. And so we are not a big, physical, dominant, you know, physically defensive team. We're fast, and we got to play discipline, we got to play within the scheme, we got to play together, and that's a lot coaching. It really is. So those coaches, Coach Jewell leading the charge, have worked hard to get that right. So hopefully it keeps showing up. I think we can still get better. I really, really believe that, and we're going to need to, because we're going to play some really good teams.
Yes, sir. So bye week coming up next for College of Idaho. Got to get better, got to continue to work on the things and work on the wrinkles, iron those things out. And then we're on the road against Carroll, so we'll preview that game next week. Look out for the end of the week for another Steel Show episode where we maybe tour the facilities and show you guys a little bit more about, you know, the day in the life of a C of I football player. But thank you so much for tuning in. You know, keep looking online for those games on the road before the Yotes come back home against Montana Tech. And heck of a job by you guys, Coach.
Thanks. Exciting stuff.
All right, we're here with defensive coordinator Coach Jewell. Heck of a performance by you guys at Rocky Mountain. First ever shutout in 6 years since the program came back in 2014. So I just want you to talk a little bit about the defense's performance and kind of assess how you guys were in Billings.
No, the guys played exceptional. You know, we had a great day. I think the bye week was good for us. You know, we took the bye week, that first week of it, just to focus on us, the stuff that we know we're going to run over and over, the play calls, trying to get the guys to really understand it, not worrying about Rocky yet, and then jumped into Rocky. We simplified a little bit, you know, what we were calling, but by far, we know we've got some dudes who can play on this defense. Very talented. You know, we also know we beat Southern, but we weren't very happy with how we played against them. But knew if we could just line up and get guys doing the right thing, our guys are very capable. So we simplified a little bit. Guys definitely graded out the best that they had in any of our games, and kind of shows when we're on and we're not making mental errors and going the right places. Capable of big things.
Yeah, and talk about, you know, you guys in the box, obviously 10 sacks. I forget, what is it, 19 tackles for loss? 18?
17 tackles.
Something like that.
It was
a
a big
really
day.
high number. And so talk about those guys in the box and how well they play.
Yeah, well shoot, you know, we have really, we know we're deep, we're older at defensive line, you know, this is by far the deepest and best. Danny Garcia had a big day, he had 2.5 sacks. He's a guy when he's on, you know, he's pretty special out there. Landon Gamble had another big day. 10 tackles, did a lot of dirty work that doesn't necessarily show with the sacks and that stuff. JT Mahone's just learning the position, so he's been great for us. We moved him down to defensive line from linebacker just because we need him on the field playing, and he's just figuring out how to be a defensive end. But
he's giving you a lot already.
He is a difference maker down there, you know. And then Miles Maupin, a young guy, had a big day inside. You know, Demetrius Tao, Zach White, those guys, James Roy, Keegan McCoy's undersized but a problem. You know, we move him around a lot and do different things. Brock Funk Vincenz, I mean, we're 6 deep at D-tackle with guys that we feel good about.
And gonna need that down the stretch.
Yeah, and I think, you know, their O-line was probably getting tired, and we were giving them a lot, and we just keep rolling those guys through. So really all 60 tackles and 40 ends, those guys are all getting equal time and coming in fresh and angry and ready to go, chomping at the bit to go get after it like their buddies.
Yeah, and I want you to talk a little bit about Graham Conahan, because I know, you know, the Yote fans are very familiar with Forest Rivers, and I know he's playing great football right now. But Graham is a guy who's come on this year a lot and has been playing great football from what I even see on film. So talk a little about what he's giving your defense.
Yeah, both those guys, Forrest and Graham, are playing awesome. You know, Graham's a guy, he came in as a transfer, super academic. He's exactly what you want as far as a student athlete, fits the mold of what we're looking for, and I think just needed a year in the system. You know, last year he was a good football player that I think lined up about where a linebacker should and went and played football a lot, and now he understands the defense and what it can do for him. So, you know, he's out there helping guys get lined up and everything else. And a throwback guy, you know, he's your, when we're doing pre-game warm-ups and that, you know, he's wants to smash. And
fully strapped up in warm-ups. You know?
Yeah, he's ready to go, and he's everything wrong. But he's really come on big time.
Yeah.
He's a guy who can, you know, really, he can get after the quarterback. He's great at blitzing. He's got a knack for it. And so happy for him. That was his first TD on defense of his career, so couldn't have been any better, you know. And then he's made a lot of big plays. That's just the way it's worked out with the blitz schemes and that. You know, Forest Rivers is playing at a super high level. He's probably done a little more of the dirty work. There's been some plays where he's gone and spilled or blown up a guard, and we've gotten over the top and got a TFL, you know. So he's doing everything right the way he always has. He just hasn't had as much of the flash plays that
those will come.
Some other guys. Yeah, no, most definitely.
Yeah, and then you know, just lastly talking about the back end, because you can't get 10 sacks without good coverage on the back end, right? So talk about what those guys have done for you, and I think they played really well all season for the most part. And if you want to highlight a couple guys, go.
Yeah, well, again, we're deep there. You know, Tristan Alisi's been starting for us forever out at corner. Josh Ellsbury, local guy from Mountain View, first year starting for us at free safety. He's another super smart, helps guys get lined up and everything. He's played super consistent. Tayson Harden's playing the boundary safety. He's been banged up. He's just a warrior. You know, he's a first-time captain for us just because the way he practices and carries himself.
Yes, sir.
And we got some young guys, Isaiah Abdul, second-year starter at the boundary corner. He's been lights out. A lot of other young guys played. Richard Marbo from Eagle played a lot for us this week. Made some plays. Dorian Harden, Tayson's brother, continues to show up in crucial times. Had the pick six for Southern that got called back because of a penalty. This week, we had a screen. They got a screen that got out the gate against us a little bit where he caused a fumble. He has that, for a freshman, he has that presence of mind.
A little bit of knack for the ball.
Doesn't freak out, just always thinking about getting the ball back, very fundamentally sound. And I got Jordan Nero back from injury this week, so he's another guy that was a potential
it was good to see him
really
back
good
out there.
football player. So again, he allowed us to do some more rotating and whatnot in the back end. But no, we're too deep in the secondary too, and I think that's one of the keys to our success, and maybe the difference between actually being able to keep points off the board is we got a lot of guys who can play and keep going, fresh bodies and guys that are ready to come in there.
And that's going to be so important in the second half of the season when football is just a war of attrition. And right now, knock on wood, we're fairly healthy and having some depth. So hopefully we can continue that going on in the second half of the season and be the freshest team in the league. But other than that, heck of a job by you and your staff, Coach. Keep up the good work, and we'll see you soon. Okay?
Yeah, thanks much.
All right, Yo fans, want to give you guys a little bit of a recap of what happened around the Frontier Conference this week. It was a big week for things to get shaken up a little bit. First, obviously, College of Idaho gets the huge 42-0 win over Rocky. C of I sits at 4-0 and atop the Frontier Conference standings. Southern Oregon upsets Carroll College. Carroll was coming off of two big wins the 2 weeks prior. They had a 14-3 lead at halftime over Southern Oregon. Southern Oregon storms back in the second half, wins 29-28, so they're finally in the win column. Big win for the Red Raiders this week. Tough loss for Carroll. Them as well as C of I are going to have a bye week this week before they meet up in Helena in a couple of weeks, so that'll be a huge game, but big win for the Red Raiders this week. Montana Tech traveled up to Montana State Northern in Havre. About a foot of snow up there, tough conditions, but Montana Tech wins over Northern 42-0 as well. Big win for them. They go to 3-1 in league. They've won 3 games in a row and looking like they're getting better every single week. So that'll be a big game for C of I down the road when we host Montana Tech when we come back to Simplot Stadium. And then Montana Western went down to LeGrand, beat Eastern Oregon 49-13. Huge win for Western. They are at 4-0 as well with C of I, so that's shaping up to be a huge game at the end of the season. So it's kind of C of I and Western sitting atop the standings. Montana Tech coming in right behind them, and then Southern Oregon, Northern, and Southern Oregon, Eastern Oregon, and Montana State Northern all sitting at 1-4 right now. So the league's starting to shake up a little bit, but a big week for the Frontier Conference. Montana Western moves up in the rankings. C of I moves up in the rankings to number 9 in the country, so that's huge. It's still early in the season, but it's fun to get that kind of notoriety. So that's a little bit of what happened around the Frontier Conference this week.